So you're not the caterpillar anymore, but you're also not quite the butterfly. Or as in the words of Britney Spears, we are not the girl, but not yet a woman either. And we are currently in this in-between stage between the old and the new. And I see you. I see you creating this life that you truly want, something that is not of the ego anymore. It's really about following your heart, building something out of joy and love. But again, it is pretty blinded. And also, you're in the middle. So you're not at the old path. You're also not in your new path. But we're in this detour road, as I like to call it when I do readings on people. So you're like leaving the old path, going to the new path. But what do we do with this time? And also, I just kind of felt like, wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit of an idea of maybe how long it's going to take, and also some messages, but I think also like some predictions of like what this time is about. What do we do with this time? How can we make the most out of this time? And not feel like we have to wake up every day wondering where our manifestation is, like being like, oh, it's not here yet, but instead realizing what this time is and where we're actually going. So if I had to give it a prediction, guys, my sense is that it's going to take you anywhere between 6 months to 2 years to turn into this true full butterfly. Like I feel like the full manifestation. Of course, there's going to be a ton of things that happen from here to then, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of that timeline so that you can sit and be present and just relax into this moment while that bun that's cooking in the oven comes to be. And honestly, if I was gambling, I would say most of us are at that 2-year mark. Okay. So like most of us are going to be like, yeah, we're going to see the full dream, the full vision at that 2-year mark. But that doesn't mean that there's not like a ton of things that happen during this time. And also, I don't want to say there's like a right and a wrong way to live this time, but I think there's an opportunity to take advantage of this time and to do something with this time where we don't feel like we're waiting. And also that we're not killing ourselves and like forcing ourselves to like make this thing happen. There is a purpose for this time, for this gestation period that we are all in. And I also just want this podcast to really validate you and be like, I see you. Like we see you. The divine that's with you sees you and sees what you're trying to do. And I'm so proud of you and all these changes that you're making, and you're being so brave. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like wherever you were coming from, it was very ego driven and very like, I have to earn it, or I'm going to prove myself, or people are going to see me based off like everything that I've accomplished, and you're really leaving that into being like, you know what, forget it. I just want to do what I love. Like, I don't really care how things pan out. I don't know if I'm going to get the money. I don't know if I'm going to be all these things, but I just want to live a life that I really love. And I want to do that and be that. So this is a time of a ton of action. It is a huge emphasis on talents, on gifts, on creativity, on making something, and not just like making something outside of ourselves, but I see like making something through me, like actually like making me the living piece of art. So it's a really beautiful time. And I want to give you a little bit of a roadmap and some guidance. So let's get into our 5 messages about this current season in your life. Message number 1, I alluded to this a little bit, but we are letting go of the ego and moving into a heart space. So moving from that solar plexus up to that heart space. And some of us, most of us already know, like I can see that like a lot of you are like, no, I know this. Like, I know that I've like let go maybe of kind of old dreams that were based off performance and based off like what I thought I needed to be happy. And instead I'm really digging deep into love and into like what I know is going to bring me joy. Some of us do not know this. Some of us are still going to walk this path with that ego. And of course, the ego never fully leaves in that way. But some of us might think we're following like a shiny object. And down this path, you're actually going to let go of how you think it's supposed to look. And instead, you're going to kind of humble yourself to receive something even better. The truth is, but us, the human, we think that it must look like the shiny object. And if it's not going to work out that way, then I don't want it. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm looking for this person and I really want my guy to look like this, this, and this. And then instead I get something totally different. Are you guys watching Sex in the City, the second, what do you call it? Like what do you call it when they do like another like, it's not another season, another show. Anyways, just like that. I didn't love the first two seasons, but I'm really enjoying this third one. And there's that character that's the realtor. And she's like, so gaudy and into all the flashy stuff. And you can obviously see that she's falling in love with like a hippie right now, which is really cute. And it's like not what she thought she was supposed to be with. But obviously, we're going down another path and we're going towards the heart and not the ego. So that's the vibes right now. So, like, we think we're looking for an uptown man, but we're actually going to end up with a crunchy, fun loving Austin type of guy, Okay, so that's what's going on here. A lot of you might know this already. Some of you may not know this. We're going to also see a disconnect from the climb. Like, my feeling is that you've been on a climb for a long time and climbing a mountain. And I think instead of climbing, and me myself, like, I've used that analogy a lot, like, oh, I'm climbing a mountain. And now I'm getting, it's like, just get off that mountain and create something beautiful. Like, I'm almost saying, like, instead of a mountain, like, just stop at this valley here and start creating a village and start creating a garden. So it's really interesting. Obviously there's a lot of work to create this village and create this garden, let's say, but I'm not climbing just for the sake of climbing. Like, I'm actually building something, leaving something, creating legacy, doing it with people. And that's very different than the climb that we've been on. So this is more stop, create, and build, be an architect, versus like the climb for the sake of the climb, because I think when I get to the top, it's going to give me everything I ever wanted. And then the truth is, how long can you really look at a view from that high? And it's really not a good place to grow a garden, usually at the top of a mountain. And you're going to have to go down that mountain anyways. And then you're going to one day find another mountain that you want to climb. So instead, it's like, get off the climb, build where you're at, build it well, leave your legacy, get people involved in what you're building, and grow something. So it's a very, where that climb is, again, like that ego, right? Thinking that we're going to be happy when we get there versus just like, oh, it's all right here. Like, we can build from here. So that's a lot of what this time is about. And that's the shift. I would say the energetic shift, and the, you might even think it's a downshift. Like, you might think like, oh, I'm trying to live a more easeful life or a slower life, but it's really just an energetic shift from a climb to a build. Message number 2. So I do get a sense that you're moving into ease, like you are purposely building something that really respects your rhythms, respects who you are, respects what's important to you, what your values are. But don't get it twisted, guys. There is discipline in this season. So this season isn't about just like, oh, whatever comes my way, or it'll just end up happening, or I'm going to just sit here and visualize it. Like, there is discipline, even if that means the discipline is I'm going to sit in meditation and visualize and manifest where I'm going, right? Like, that is still discipline. Like, having to do a very strict, manifestation process or ritual is still requires discipline, because it's still something I need to do. Like, I actually need to sit my butt down, meditate, visualize where I'm going, blah, blah, blah. So it's still as much as if I would wake up and have to work out every day. So it's still a thing that I'm doing and something that I'm being disciplined with and committed to. But there is discipline during this time. We've talked about gardens a lot the last few seasons because that's what's on my mind. But think about a gardener. It's like, it's a lot of work, right? Or think about a farmer. It's like a lot of dirty work, but it's also so beautiful. Like, the process of making my flowers grow in my garden is a very dirty job. It requires commitment and discipline, and my hands are getting dirty, but the flowers themselves, like what I end up creating, is so beautiful. So that's what I feel like. You just have to be able to hold both. Like, yes, you're about to make something really beautiful, something very exciting, something you've wanted, but don't get that confused with not working. There is work here. There's a lot of discipline, and only you can decide what that discipline is. I think sometimes discipline might be like, I'm waking up every Sunday and I'm writing a few chapters in my book, or, I'm working on this, or I am working out, or I'm eating a certain way, or I'm going to my therapist every Tuesday, even though it's hard. So it's something that you are definitely working at and being consistent with. I think that the work is different than like the work you've seen before, because You know, it's funny, the work you were doing before that was hard was very hamster wheel work. And this is like, I feel like, you can feel you are digging and you're going to hit gold. So that is the different feeling. Like, this is not really hamster wheel. This is chipping at something little by little, where before it was like hamster wheel for the sake of hamster wheel. It kind of reminds me of social media. I don't know why, because I feel like social media can be like such a hamster wheel sometimes. And it's like, whatever, I'm just showing up every day and doing this thing. And it's just like, I'm just doing it to, I don't know, to hope I get new clients or to hope that I can grow my audience. But that can be, yes, it's going to require discipline, but it's also such a hamster wheel. So the flip of that right now would be like, yeah, I'm disciplined in creating something online, but let's say I'm creating like this body of work that I know when it's all done, it's going to be something. So yeah, I might be creating a lot, making content or whatever, but it's part of a bigger body of work rather than just like showing up on Instagram and feeding the beast. So there is discipline, there is commitment, there is kind of that gardener farmer type work of like showing up to your craft, showing up to your vision, showing up to your frequency even. Like, that's why I'm saying that I think some of you, what we're going to see is just a true dedication to your frequency, which is what we would see in meditation, right? That you're sitting there and you're like, I'm going to hold this higher frequency. I started reading this book, which is an old book, and I'm not sure if I even like it yet, so I don't even want to recommend it to you guys, but it's that book about, I think it's called like Messages from Water. And it's this book that this guy found out that like when you say certain words to water and you freeze it, the crystals will change depending on the waters. And like when you say positive words like gratitude, like crystals are beautiful. And then when you say ugly words like you fool, it's a Japanese, so they in books, so they say like you fool, the crystals look ugly. And he's kind of just saying like, we're water, the world is water, so that's why words matter, and like why we should be speaking good words into things. And I'm understanding it obviously as like frequency and vibrations and being dedicated. It's so much easier to say you fool, you fool, you fool to like somebody than to say like you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. It actually like requires more frequency. And that is a commitment and a dedication. So I'm looking at this as like, yeah, of course, like it is more work to hold that higher frequency in many ways. And sometimes like the world has a lower vibration. We're always having to like work our way out of that. So it is a commitment, it is a dedication. And maybe that is just sitting in meditation and being like, my future life, my future self has a frequency of a 7. I'm currently at a 4. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hold her frequency until it becomes more of my default setting. That's still a lot of work. And that's still commitment, even if there's nothing physical being done, but it's still a discipline. So my sense is we'll see some of you just doing that, but it's a thing, discipline to that. And then some of you feels like it's going to be a discipline and a commitment to a craft, to getting something better, to, let's say, writing, but doing several drafts and several edits, like not just like writing and putting it up, but actually really trying to get good at my craft. So a few things, or just tending and kind of showing up to something a lot. So don't expect this time to not be a time of discipline, but it really feels like it's a discipline because it's going to get you somewhere, because you can tell where it's going. Message number 3, I love this period for you, because you're going to be doing less. You're going to be doing things slower, but you're going to be doing things well. And I love when things are done well. Like I think there's a fine line, obviously, between like perfectionism and just wanting to do something well. I used to think that I was this perfectionist and, was never happy with things. And as an artist, and as I've grown into my artist self, I realized that it's not really perfectionism. It's having a vision, like that artist being like, oh, I see it. I want it to be like that. And I'm going to make these small little tweaks to make it look the way that I want it to look. So maybe you're making small tweaks to your home and like just really small things, but ultimately you're like, this is exactly how I want it to look. Or maybe you're working out and you're just doing a few pounds and 30 minutes of exercise, like nothing super crazy, but you're doing it well. Like you're moving your arm, the right way, or you're moving your legs the right way. So it feels like it's a slowness and a depth. at details, like really looking at details, doing things well, not feeling like you need to do a ton, but doing the things that you do in a way that feels like, oh, I'm getting it just right. So you may also need help in this department. Like I feel like you may hire an expert. You may hire somebody that is already doing this thing well. So maybe there's a trainer or something like that to make sure that you can get to the next level. So you're almost you're increasing your default. Like, so if my talent is at a default 3, it almost looks like you're working to get your talent to a default 6. And then like you can build from there. And maybe also like when you're at a default 6, you can sometimes perform at an 8. But with where you're at right now, like you can't get that far. So you're trying to increase like your default setting. Like you're trying to like really embody this change by doing it slow and well, and by being very grounded in the change. So it makes me feel like you're changing something. You're changing a way of being. This may be yourself, kind of the way you think about things or the way you go about things, but you're going to do it slower and you're going to do it better. And obviously that could be like, I'm going to date, but I'm going to do it a little bit slower. I'm going to do it a little bit better. I'm going to do it a little bit more intentional. So it's not just like these things that you're crafting, but in general, slow and better. Message number 4, because this is an in-between stage, we're not going to be able to control everything. My sense is some of you have a plan. Like some of you are like, I'm going to shift from here to this. And there's a little bit of a plan, a little bit of an idea of how I'm going to do this. But I'm also getting that because you are becoming someone new, there is going to be a lot of emotions coming up because there's these old emotions that have been in you that haven't let you become who you've been trying to become. So in another way, it's like the future self doesn't have the relationship that you have currently to your emotions right now. She has almost like a more mature way of understanding her emotions and just a higher understanding of it. So we're going to see a lot of emotions come to the surface. That could be through dreams. That could be through just life. It's very watery to me. So it also feels psychic and intuitive. So it's emotions, psychic, and intuitive. But sometimes like when those things are not really understood, or they are like, you're not an expert in understanding them, they can wash you out is what I'm getting. So you want to have something that is somewhat of a safety net for you when it comes to these emotions. It almost looks like if you don't, you might see yourself trying to disassociate, like, numb yourself out, or just kind of like let these emotions take you to the next step. But you're really supposed to master these feelings and master these emotions that have been calling the shots for a really long time. That's one of the biggest shifts we're going to see that is different from the caterpillar to the butterfly. It's like saying, or the girl to the woman, like the woman is matured. She has matured her point of view, her way of understanding things. So for example, like if you currently, the girl, are blaming XYZ and being like, even something as silly as like I know some people don't find it silly. I shouldn't have used that word, but like something like world politics, right? Like it's so easy to get caught up in the emotions of it. And the matured future self like still sees the issues and all that, but doesn't get caught up in them. And she has like a better handle of her own emotions and the way things are moving within her body. So that's what we're going to see during this time. And it also seems like it might be one of the harder things during this time. So it would be helpful to have some sort of support, whether that's a therapist or like a coach, a routine even. I was seeing, like I wrote down that like your routines will actually help you here. So like that discipline part, like deciding to stick to a routine and making that routine in a time that like you're clear-headed. So for example, I made a schedule for the rest of the year for the business as to like what we're selling and, what we're teaching and what we're putting out. And, I'm looking at that thing and I'm like, okay, guys, everybody try to keep me accountable here, because next month I'm going to be on my period and I'm not going to want to do something. I'm going to be pissed and then I'm going to change it. And I'm going to go off of my emotions or off of how I'm feeling. Maybe I'm anxious, maybe I'm nervous, maybe I'm worried, and I'm going to want to change that schedule. But it does look like any schedule that we are creating, as long as creating it from like a sane place right now, that is going to help us in the future when we maybe don't want to show up to it, or maybe when we want to change it. But I'm getting the sense that like these routines, these schedules, they're actually like a safety net from the ebbs and flows of our emotions. And actually they're going to help us up level these emotions. And they're actually going to help us mature from these emotions when we let the schedule, the routine, the commitment do what it needs to do, right? Like, for example, writing my last book, like, there was a routine, there was a schedule, and there was a commitment to it. And maybe, when I say schedule, I don't mean like every Monday at 2:00. It just means like, I'm in a relationship with this thing. Like, we're going to get this done. Like, we are actually going to finish this thing. And there's somewhat of a schedule, so-and-so is waiting for chapter 4. And like, there are deadlines, right? So I am going to stick to those deadlines. And by sticking to those deadlines, I finished a project and I'm like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. And then I can do a project like that again because I just matured. Like, I just started and finished a project and didn't let myself get lost and drown in my emotions. I stuck to my, my somewhat schedule, but I finished it and now I am better for it and I'm stronger for it. So we see a lot of shift in emotion during this time. Support yourself in the way that you need to, and don't get mad at your schedule, at your routines. Set them in a way that makes sense for you, and obviously leave room for you to have some space to, feel, but also know that the goal is to know that this thing is hard. It is an up level, but to know that you are strong enough to get past this and to like move through those emotions. Like, don't get lost in them. Don't drown in them. Like, move through them. And what is it that you need to do to be able to move through them? Message number 5, hear me out and hear me well on this, guys. There's going to be a lot of little wins. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. There are going to be new people eyeing you in a way that you haven't been eyed in a long time. Like, people almost like discover, I have goosebumps. Like, people are going to see you. They're going to notice you. There's going to be opportunities, but not all opportunities are worth it. So what's interesting about this time, I almost felt that when I was getting into this, you are in a place that you don't even believe in opportunities anymore. Like, there's a little bit of a jadedness in you, like almost like spaces are saturated, like luck doesn't happen anymore, or like all those fun opportunities were in my 20s or my teens and that's not available anymore. But I'm going to do this anyways because you have surrendered some sort of ego anyway. So you're like, I'm going to make this change anyways. But there is a lot of opportunity. It's just something kind of pops. There's a lot of just collaborations, people coming your way, things that you're excited about. You just open up your mindset. I feel like they've always been there, but just like not available to you. So now as you start to shift your energy, you're going to be like, oh my God, like there's something available to me. It feels like sometimes, like, let's say I'm hiking my land and I'm like, oh, there's no purple flowers here in this part of my land. But if I go a little bit deeper, I'm like, oh my God, look, there's all the purple flowers. But like, if I didn't go deeper, if I didn't just be like, whatever, I'm willing to get lost, I'm willing to go like a little bit deeper, I wouldn't find those flowers. So I feel like they've always been there, right? Those flowers have always existed. I just haven't ventured off. And you're venturing off into a place where you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that this existed. But there is a need to manage your own career is what I was getting. I was talking to a good friend of mine who is a talent manager, and I was just kind of talking some things out. And I was like, I just need to, I'm getting these opportunities, but I'm like, is there a better path for me? Or like, should I take these? That's kind of the question I was asking. And I was like, I feel like I need to manage my career. And he's like, yeah, you absolutely do. That is correct. And that's what I'm getting here. Like, there are going to be a lot of opportunities, but you have to manage the path, right? Like, do you want to be a career that is pink, or do you want one to be blue? Okay, well then these opportunities that come, are they pink opportunities or are they blue opportunities? Like, you'll have to kind of lay them out and decide what really is the path that you're walking, because where you came from was a path where you were really handing off your power to the system. And now you are creating the system. Like you are creating the blueprint, you are creating the roads. So you can't just hand off your power to what randomly shows up. You actually, like, of course, being super grateful for what randomly shows up, but then also having to be your own talent manager, being like, oh, I'm so grateful that that opportunity came up, but actually that's not a good opportunity for where I'm going. So for example, Benny, my husband, has these properties, he's growing these properties on the land. And there's many different options you can take with these properties, right? Like you can sell them, you can rent them short term, you can rent them long term, you can get a property manager, you can do it without a property manager. There's a lot of different ways. And obviously all these opportunities come his way, which is amazing, but then he has to make the decision of which one really lines up with his vision. And to not just like get excited about what comes his way, but actually to be like, okay, like this is my vision and this is what I'm sticking to. So this is about like seeing these wins and these opportunities, but also making sure that they align and they line up. And this feels like it's a new muscle for you that like you might even get a little overwhelmed by this. And I think the way you're understanding it is that there's a right way and there's a wrong way, but there's not a right and a wrong. There's just something that's more true to your vision and something that isn't. And remember, you are the artist of your life. Like you get to decide how this all looks. And if you want to make a canvas that's pink, then like go all in, like fully commit to pink. Don't think that, oh, if I do blue, like that's really what's going to work out for me. It's like, no, what's going to work out is completing your full vision, fully dedicate, like going all in. So if I'm going to do pink flowers in my room and I am, designing the room, like I got to go all in. I can't just do like a little pink flower here and there. No, I'm just like fully committed. Like we're going to do a colorful room and that's always what's going to look the best. Like you totally lean in and that's what's going to work out for you the most. It's not that there's a better path. There's just something that is true to your vision and something that isn't. It also reminds me like of, really theming a party, like when you go to a party that, it was a Pinterest mom party and she killed it and she just like themed the shit out of it. It's like she did the goodie bags and the names and the t-shirts that matched and the balloons. Like that is what's going to work out for you. Like, and then you only want those opportunities. Like that Pinterest mom is probably being like, no, we're not going to do, metallic balloons. We're going to do these like more matte balloons because metallic doesn't go with my vision, right? So it's not that a metallic balloon is bad. It just doesn't go with my vision. So like you are going to be the one that's making those decisions, but they're going to be the best when you realize that I don't want to say that it's on you. It's not about pressure. It's about you letting your vision come fully into focus, like being like, oh, this is exactly what it is. And I have the power to say yes or no, and to really let go of what is right and what is wrong and what's going to work. Like that needs to go. Like there's nothing that is going to work or not work. It's just like, what do you see for yourself? That is what's going to work. Message number 6, we see a ton of blue energy, which is the throat chakra here. So this whole shift and this whole period of time in your life is about expression. I think there's a lot of messages here because we're all going to meet our expression in different ways. Some of it is like, I just see you learning to communicate better, learning to communicate better with your spouses, like with your partners, with the people that matter in your life, right? Like I just had this conversation with Benny that brought up like a PTSD moment for the both of us at like our year 2 in marriage. And we're about to celebrate 14 years. And it's like, whoa, we've had this conversation since year 2 in our marriage and we haven't been able to communicate it clearly. I was like, wow, that is crazy. 12 years of just like a communication that has been muddled. It was fascinating, and to like let it go and to clear it up was the best feeling. And of course, I trust that us at year 2 could not handle the conversation, and now us at 14 years can handle the conversation. But I feel like this is like all about communication. So get good at communicating with your bosses, with your coworkers, with your classmates, with your children, with your partners, like the people that really matter, because creation, I know we want to do it on our own. I know we want to like not involve other people or not let other people know what we're trying to create. But the truth is, like, what is held up in our expression, in our true expression, in our communication, does affect our creation. So we want to just let things flow. I'm not saying that there's like one conversation that needs to happen and another that doesn't. I just feel like there needs to be flow here, that you're feeling free to express yourself. You're feeling free to be who you are, to say who you are. Expression is not only in speaking, it could be in the way you show up. It could be like, I'm dressing a certain way, I'm looking a certain way, I'm in new patterns. So there's a whole communication thing here. This is also about those of you who are creating. I see a lot of you creating, writing, podcasting, telling stories, books, just everything, photography. Your expression is key. Like, this is, I have goosebumps. This is about being the creator. This is about being the artist, about being the creative. This is the shift that you're making. It's like you're going from black and white into color. The butterfly is multicolored, where the caterpillar might be is like one color, right? So really get better at your communication, express. Don't stop until it feels true. Like, this is an honest communication. This is an honest expression. This is also about getting better, right? So part of me getting good at readings was getting better at expressing to my people. Part of me growing my brand was being able to express my message better, to understand my people so that they understand me. Selling something, right? Like, when you sell anything, sometimes it's like, oh, this thing didn't sell. I can't believe like nobody got it. And the journey is not about making it necessarily better, but it's about expressing it better. Like, are you getting through to people? Are you communicating enough? Do they get it? Do you get them? Do they get you? So this is about improving in this area and also being authentic and true in this area. So much blue. And honestly, like, with all the messages I got, I was like, if there's any place to improve, like if you can't do anything else, like if everything else sounded a little too overwhelming, let's say, this would be the place. Like, if you would just lean into this, like improving my communication, improving my expression, this really drives you to where you're going. Like, and on the days that you're scared or you're overwhelmed by like all the many different things that you can do, look at something that you're expressing or that you're doing and seeing like, how can I do that a little bit different? And I think sometimes, like, when we think about better, we think it's like, oh, just saying words without like, or, I don't know, saying better words. But sometimes it's like, think about a child, right? Like, you might have two kids and one child needs to be spoken to this way. And then child number two needs a totally different angle. Like, maybe you have to get through to them by singing it. Like, maybe their life has to be more of a musical where your other child is more of a drama, but you're still the same artist. And it could even still be the same story. Like, I can make a story that's a musical and I can also make that story into like a drama. And it's still me, but I'm learning how to communicate to these different people in different ways. So it's not about that you're bad or that you're bad at this. It's more about expressing yourself in a way that it actually lands for the other person and keeping the other person in mind. Like, how does the person need to receive you and take in that information? And lastly, this season is going to be productive. Like, there's just going to be just something totally built and different from where you came from. But this is productivity from fun, guys. Like, this is all about fun. Like, this is such a fun time and a fun vibe. And I wanted to share that because I don't want you to think that you have to work hard or that this is a drag or it so sucks that you're not, in that place yet. You're definitely getting to this new place. Like, it's happening. It's absolutely happening as long as you keep up with the momentum. If you get sucked into emotions and you drown, well, then we'll have to talk later. But if you're just like letting this momentum move you, things are happening. But it's going to happen with fun. So the productivity has to come from a fun place. So I was thinking about my kids in the summer. I can tell my children like, hey, I need you to read, 3 chapters of this book. And do they drag that along? Not 3 chapters, what am I saying? 3 pages, right? And they drag it along, right? Especially if it's a book that they don't like. But then I'll see them building like a fort inside the house. And they just spent like 3 hours on this fort forgetting what time it is, right? So they were so productive. They built something, they did something, they completed something. But they did it with so much fun and laughter that they didn't realize that it was hard work and how long it took them. They don't even realize that they're working. And that was the vision I was getting when I was getting this message. Like, yes, we are going to be productive, but it's going to be productivity through a lot of fun. If it's not fun, then it's not the right action for you. There is going to be action here, but it has to be made fun. And you can even ask yourself, like, okay, I know that I need to do these things to like get to where I want to go. But right now I find it very boring. So how can I make this fun? And that might be like bringing in more people. That might be doing it in a certain place or wearing it with a certain outfit or changing your voice when you do it. Like there may be different ways that make the same thing fun, but nonetheless, you're going to get a lot done. It just needs to be through a joyous energy, very childlike energy, very colorful, and make it fun. And lastly, guys, this is not another number message, but these in-between seasons are always messy. It's like adolescence. Like we don't want anybody to see us during this time. And we also look a little crazy. And there's so much doubt that comes during this time because again, you're not you're not the caterpillar, you're not the butterfly, you're in between and you're like not sure it's actually going to happen. But God, if I could just like give you the confidence that you're growing into something. And even if you look ugly and messy during the time, you have to be your own cheerleader. Like you really have to be able to hold that vision for yourself. And you just have to know and trust yourself and just put your head down and do what you need to do. It is going to be something and it's going to be something beautiful. The same way, like someday we just come out of adolescence and we actually look like a full human again. You know, we don't look strange or the braces and the acne, we begin to look beautiful again. So you are making something beautiful right now. And there may not even be a rhyme and a reason. I'm telling you, even whatever plan you do have is like not really going to be like what fully gets you there. But it's this energy of knowing something is going to come from this and knowing that, you know, by putting love and gratitude and energy into this expression and into this showing up, something absolutely better comes than what you have right now. So you're not crazy for thinking that you're in between, but we need to let go of like wanting it to happen tomorrow. We have to have some patience, but I want to say presence, like be here for this moment, like be here for this time. Like this is the only time that you're going to be in between where you are and where you're going. And I wouldn't say you're going to miss it. It's kind of like saying like, I don't miss having a 1-month-old baby. You're not really going to miss it, but it is the foundation of what you're growing. So it's important to be here and be present, because if not, like I was just saying, like somehow there was this conversation that should have happened at my 2-year marriage. And now we're having it at 14 because like I couldn't be there in that moment. Like I had to like, you know, just like leave the building because perhaps it was like really hard for me in those first few years. So be here, like, and get it done here and be present and enjoy it. And don't let anybody else make you feel like it's supposed to look any other way. There are going to be people around us that are nervous for us because they can't see what we are becoming. It's like the same way a parent can be nervous for their child when they look a little funny, like when the child's short or when the child has, you know, funny face or braces because they're not yet like their full adult self, you know? So you're going to have people worry for you. And the best thing you can do is be like, don't worry about me. Like, I'm good. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't know exactly how it's all going to pan out, but I'm committed to this shift and this change that's coming for me. And you don't need to worry about me. And if it really bothers you, I'll call you when it's done. See you in 2 years. But please do not worry about me. I'm growing into the butterfly and I'm becoming exactly what I know I'm meant to be. All right, my friends, love you much. And I will see you in the next episode.